Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I'm here once again for Scrapping for Less and their June Flavor of the Month card kit reveal. June's theme is called Under the Sea Babies, and these are absolutely precious. Look at these characters. You gotta love them. So first, as always, let's look at what the contents are that are going to be in your kit. So as always, I will have the ingredient sheet and the sketch sheet, which I will follow for the first 4 cards, listed down below for you to download. So your cardstock is Barely There, Bubblegum Pink, Black Licorice, Grape Jelly, Blue Raspberry, Limeade, and 2 sheets of Nina 110 Classic Crest Smooth. So in our first packet, we are going to see the papers by Scrapping for Less called Watercolor Ocean Babies. They are double-sided, and these have some wonderful prints on them. Your sequin pack by Scrapping for Less, a couple or 1 silver washi tape, I know I showed 2 there, some enamel dots, and then the stamp set Sea Babies by Avery L. For collection 2, your papers are Neon Sea Life by Scrapping for Less, and again, they are double-sided as well. I like the watercolor look that they have to them. These were really fun to play with. Some Wooden Sea Life Icons by Desiree, your sequin pack, an 18-inch piece of twine, and your stamp set is See You Soon by Sunny Studios. That is exclusive to Scrapping for Less, as was the Avery L. For collection 3, that's Sea Creatures, your papers are again by Scrapping for Less, and it is called Sea Creatures. You get some of this mesh by Desiree. You're going to get some wire embellishment by Desiree also. Your stamp set is called Sea Otters by Hero Arts. For your last collection, it's called Sea Buddies, so you know the paper's going to be called Sea Buddies by Scrapping for Less as well. And once again, it is double-sided. I love the colors of this one. They're really bright and bold, and usually I'm not a bright and bold person. Bubble Stencil by Scrapping for Less, some wonderful silver metal ocean charms, your sequin pack, and then, of course, your stamp set by Scrapping for Less called Sea Buddies. Now, these items here are what you get in the Double Dip Sunday subscription if you have that. If you have the Banana Split, you are then going to get this stamp set here, which are Sentiments by Scrapping for Less, a little mini glass bottle by Desiree. Now, you will get a die by Scrapping for Less, so that's what the die is going to look like. And then you're going to get a Daniel Smith watercolor dot set. So I'm going to real quick grab my watercolor brush so that you can see the colors. And this is what I do just so that I know that I have those when I do get these cards, is just to put my water brush to it just to pull out the color so that I can see. These are in greens and blues primarily. And a very, very, it's like a smoky black or gray. It's dark. And those are your colors. So everything you see here is what you will get in the Banana Split. So let's get started with card number 1. Now for card number 1, I'm actually going to use sketch number 2. So I took one of the pattern papers by Scrapping for Less, and I cut it up into the panels of what the sketch showed. So I'm going to trim them down. Again, my calculations were off because I don't measure. I just cut. It's what I do best. But I'm just going to play with the sizes that come across. So where the image is on the left, I only trimmed a little bit off of that panel. For the next 2, I did trim a little bit more, so they're going to get smaller. Why did I do it this way? Because I forgot I was going to make a landscape card. That's why. That's going to be honest out there, but that's okay. We just adapt. That's the beauty of paper. It allows you to adapt. All of my panels are going to be propped up using double-sided foam tape, and then I'm going to set the top 3 So I'm going to set the one to the left first, and then I'll set the one to the right so that I know where the center one will go. And then at least I'll have a nice shot and a good shot of having the areas in between the panels to be even. So I'm just going to set that down. So I like the way the pattern or the design kind of cuts over into the panels. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom one and trim off the edge using my card base as the guide. I cut a strip from one of the solid card stocks that come in the kit, and I'm going to adhere that right over this gap here. Now you could have kept that gap there. You didn't have to add the strip, but I just wanted this pop of green to come across the card. So again, you can let the pattern paper do the work. You really don't have to do anything with it. Now, as always, I did take care of my coloring off camera. These little fishes here, because they were so precious, were done with using my alcohol markers. And I did use my makeup brush to fill in for the back ocean and the bottom sand. The sentiment I used was sending oceans of hugs. I'm going to use some of the gems that come in the kit just to add a little bit of an embellishment, and I'm actually using them as bubbles. So I'm making sure that they're coming up and going off into the panel. For card number 2, you can see I've stamped the images, and I actually am having going off of the oval. And for this one, I'm going to use sketch number 4. I grabbed a couple of the pattern papers and cut them down to size, and now I'm just going to layer across my card. I will prop this one panel up using some fun foam and my liquid adhesive. And the liquid adhesive that I'm using is my art glitter glue. Once that's set in place, I'm going to place that towards the bottom. I have stamped my sentiment on that strip that I have cut there, and it says, "See you soon." I'm going to use my liquid adhesive to set that sentiment down, and I will have the sentiment more towards the right. I do want it positioned underneath my characters there. So I was making that look like a window, somewhat, that they're like, hello, or saying goodbye, as the person's going away. I did use my makeup brushes again to create the shading for the water in the background, and I did use, again, my alcohol markers to color in my images off camera. I'm going to adhere my panel onto my standard A2 side card bases, and all of my cards for this video are standard A2 size card bases, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and they're either a top folding or a side folding. I did grab my glitter pen, and I'm just going to add some glitter to where the sentiment sits and the border around the picture. So for card number 3, I'm going to be using sketch number 1. Used a piece of fun foam, and I'm going to adhere my piece of cardstock that I cut from the kit down onto my card base. I am using some of the cardstock from the kit for one of my card bases as well. I've grabbed the papers that had the same color theme and cut them down into the different sizes. Now, again, I will make sure that on the blog that you'll see the sizes that these actually are. I followed the sketch, but I did not follow its measurements. But you can certainly do that and get the same results. Sorry. I took those pieces, and while the base was propped up, I did glue those down using my liquid adhesive, not propping any. It would be nice, or something different, to prop each one at a different level. I'm going to adhere that down onto my card base. And then I'm grabbing this sentiment from the stamp set that says, "The ocean is calling." So I wanted that to go on the inside. Again, we don't always have to put our sentiments on the outside of our cards. Now I'm going to grab some of the sequins and just accent some of the areas within these panels. So For some, I'm going to have them throughout. For the top one, I'm going to go to the center of the starfish. Just to make each panel look even more different than what it already does, because I've used the different papers to create my blocks that are going through that. I am using my wax pencil to pick up the sequins and place them down on my card, and I chose 3 of the shells for the center banner. For card number 4, I'm going to use collection or sketch number 3. So I'm going to use the stencil, and I'm going to start out with tumbled glass with my makeup brush, and I'm going to cover the entire base. Now I just want a light color. I don't need a solid coverage, so I'm just looking for a hint of this color in the background. I'm going to make sure that it's a little bit darker on the edges and lighter towards the center. I'm going to clean off my mat and make sure that it's dry before I put my paper down. And now I'm going to take the stencil and get that adhered to my panel as well. I'll be using some painter's tape just on the side, just to hold my cardstock in place. I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm going to come in on the bottom and have those bubbles darker than what the top is. But I do want to have some of those bubbles to show on the top. I do want that look, but I do want the base to be just a little bit darker, and then I'm just going all over the place for the light, because I think I have a really nice blend. When I clean my makeup brushes, I do use a very damp, I squeeze some of the moisture out of the baby wipe, I brush it along that, and then quick get it to a dry paper towel just to clean them off. Going to clean off that mat again and make sure it's dry, and that's what our panel looks like. So it's got a little bit, you know, of a variegated solid feel, somewhat, but that's a good way to create your own pattern paper as well, is to use a stencil. I did grab the really bright fish from this collection, and I'm going to adhere that across the panel that we just used our Distress Oxides on. Here's another block that I've cut, and I just fell in love with these polka dots. I don't know why. I think the colors are great. I'm going to use my double-sided foam tape to prop this rectangle up over the fish. So we've got some fish coming out from underneath that on both sides. That's the little character that I chose to color off screen. I did use my alcohol markers for this. And then I did use my makeup brush to put the water underneath the little one. And then I did also use my brushes to create my sentiment, Life's a Journey. So you can see they can give you some really nice coverage. And then I used the Mermaid Lagoon to give me some shadow for my image up there. I'm going to add some more of these pearl gems again and place those around my card just for a little bit of an embellishment. And we got to have some sparkle and shimmer. Always right. I'm going to adhere this down onto my standard A2 size card base, and it is going to cover the entire front. So that panel is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. For the last card, we're going to use the contents of the banana split. So I pulled out my shaded lilac along with my Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to add water, and I'm going to just take this die cut and ink smush it down. Now, no, I am using the Tim Holtz glass mat. I love it. But just know that when you put your inks down on there and you go to mist them, you're not going to get the bubbles. Yeah, I needed to finger paint. I just had to. I do like the bubbles when you use a craft mat. Because you get those splashes. So just know that when you're on glass, it kind of just mixes it. So you're going to get more of clouded effects, but you can still do your ink smushing technique. And you can see after I had the blue, I wanted some purple in there, so I just took my finger and whooshed it through. That's a technical term too, whoosh. So I could see those two different colors. But no, you just won't get those dots, so to speak, that you get. Now, if I would have gone to the right where the craft mat is, I would have had them, but I just wanted to make sure you saw it. I took a scrap piece of white cardstock, put it to the back of the eyes because they do cut out, and I'm going to use my black gel pen to fill that area in. And then once my black gel pen is dry, I will come in with my white gel pen. Matter of fact, that's my black glaze gel pen. And then I will come in with my white just to add the little bit of highlight to the eye. Grabbing my standard A2 size card base and getting that ready. So instead of getting another panel, I'm just going to put a little bit of the two colors that I used, Shaded Lilac and Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm going to add some water, and I'm going to do some splatters because I love splattering. So I'm going to start out with the Mermaid Lagoon, just put my splatters all over, clean off my brush, and then I'm going to pick up the Shaded Lilac and go all around with that, and I will let that dry. So I'm working directly onto the card base. You don't always have to have what I refer to as sometimes as your design base. So, you know, you can keep that in mind. I'm going to prop this little guy up using my double-sided foam squares, set him into the center, and kind of lean him towards one side. There I am with the white gel pen. And my banner says, "Let's Play Under the Sea," is going to intertwine in his little tentacles. Is that what they called? His arms. Let's call them his arms. I like that. In some areas it'll be propped up, and I did decide to cut a banner on the one side and curl that up just a little bit. So since he's propped up and this is laying across that, I'm good with just putting that around his arms. I am going to add just one more piece of double-sided foam just to prop up that end of it. Very simple, but I think it does have a cuteness to it. Of course, we got to add some sequins to help with the bubbles that are around him. That's what the splatters are, at least in my mind. I'm just going to add a few very close to him. I don't want to go too far, but this will just add just a little bit to help frame him. I think he's a him. I do hope you enjoyed today's cards today using the Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month kit for June. And remember, the theme is Sea Babies. So make sure you get your kit before they are all sold out. And remember, you can get either the Double Dip Sundae or the Banana Split. The downloads for the ingredient sheet and the sketch sheet will be down in the video description below, along with the links to the Scrapping for Less blog, shop. Please make sure you check them out. They have lots of products available for your everyday paper crafting needs that you may have. If you have any questions, please list those down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and watching today's video that I put together for you. If you haven't already, please, I'd love for you to subscribe, but make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is coming up. You never know what it could be. I hope everyone's having a great day. Remember, take care, but always remember what's most important for me. Always be creative.